Joining me now is one of those red state Democrats that is on the ballot in 2018. It's Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Senator Manchin, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Well, let me start with this. You are representing a state that President Trump won by 40 points. You're up for re-election in 2018. Does Doug Jones?
I think 43 points to be up.
There you go. Does Doug Jones's victory in Alabama, does that give you more confidence? Or does that tell you, well, if I get to run against Roy Moore, I can win?
Well, I feel good in my state. I've been in my state all my life, born and raised here, and I've been in public office for quite some time in different capacities, most recently as governor before U.S. Senator. So I think the people know me. My brand is very independent, and my brand is all about West Virginia. And you have to be, whether you're Democrat or Republican, you have to be who you are for the state you represent. And I think people know that I'm going to put West Virginia and my country ahead of my party.
What should Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi take away from this? They're the titular heads of your party right now on both the House and the Senate. What lesson do you want them to take away from Doug Jones in Alabama?
Well, let me just talk about Washington Democrats, which I'm not one. I'm not a Washington Democrat. I'm a West Virginia Democrat. And I believe that Doug Jones is an Alabamian Democrat. The Washington Democrats have to understand we're a little bit different. We do, and we are very much concerned about the social issues that have divided, and it seems like the Democrats have abandoned. But we're going to stay true to our roots and who we are. And as long as they understand that and leave us alone, let us do our job here, we're going to be just fine. And when we go to Washington, it's not whether Chuck Schumer, who I think the world of, a good guy, a nice person, and a good friend of mine, but still yet Chuck knows I'm going to be voting for West Virginia. He accepts that, he understands that, and he knows exactly who I am. And the people in West Virginia know who I am. So that's really what it's about. And that's what Doug Jones needs to do.
Look, you're not the only politician I've run into that says, whoa, 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 I'm not going to be assigned with the national party. People know me in my state. They will judge me as my state. But, you know, all politics are national these days, more so than they ever used to be. So I guess, let me ask you this about the national message. There's a lot of base Democrats that are fired up about the idea of impeaching President Trump. You had 58 House Democrats vote for that idea. You have a billionaire donor to the party who may want to run for the U.S. Senate talking about the idea. Do you think that is good or bad for your chances at re-election in 2018 if impeachment is one of the national messages of the Democratic Party?
Here's the thing, Chuck, that really bothers me more than anything. Because I am up for re-election in 2018, I guess people think in Washington I'm going to vote differently, or I'll be differently, or I'll have to kowtow, if you will, to what they think may be popular. I don't think impeachment is something we should be talking about. If facts come out, if these investigations go down that line, and if the rule of law is exercised and we see that there's reason to go in that direction, the House will make that decision first before it's given to the Senate. So I'm not going to waste my time or energy on that. I think it's futile at this point in time. There's so much that needs to be done for this country, for our military to be strong and defend us, and for a tax reform, not just a tax cut that works for all America.
I want to pick up on 2 points you just brought up. One, quickly, is the investigation. You're on the Senate Intel Committee. I know you're part of that investigation. One of your colleagues, Senator Roy Blunt, he said the following about the Bob Mueller issues right now. I'm concerned that he couldn't put a team together that wasn't so overwhelmingly on one side of the ideological spectrum, but maybe even somebody as capable and experienced as Mueller can learn a lesson from this. Do you believe Mueller's investigation has been compromised, pure and simple?
I do not at all believe that Mr. Mueller's has been compromised or his investigation. I think he's beyond reproach. I think anybody who's ever worked with him, who have watched him operate for the last how many years under Democrats and Republicans. They even asked him to stay on after the Bush administration. I think that he is the right person, that when he finishes his investigation, that we're going to have confidence it was done in a fair and balanced way. I truly believe that. And I'm not led to believe that anybody on Intelligence Committee thinks that he would not be the right person. Is anybody better than him?
Have you been troubled at all of what you've seen come out of the selective leaking of these texts that have come out of the Justice Department regarding these FBI agents?
Yeah, that bothers you, but these are human beings too. I understand on both sides, but the bottom line is that Mr. Mueller got rid of the people immediately as soon as it was made he was made aware of them, and that's not going to impede his investigation, I think, in a fair and unbiased way.
Let me pick up on taxes. It was interesting to me that you said you wanted to work on tax reform instead of just tax cuts. I take it that's a little subtle jab at this tax bill. You didn't vote for it, but you also claimed this is not the bill President Trump wanted. That's not what he's saying. He seems to be really excited about this bill. How did you get cut out of this? I think a lot of us expected you to be more involved in this process.
I wanted to be more involved. First of all, I thank the president for inviting me to the White House. I was there for lunch. I was there for a dinner. We spoke about really reform, such as what Ronald Reagan did in 1986. It was total reform, or what Erskine Bowles and Al Simpson recommended in Bowles-Simpson. That was reform. And the president told me, he said, Joe, this is not going to be a tax cut for the rich like me. And I said, Mr. President, that's good. He said, it's going to be for the average working person who's got left behind. I said, that's great. Well, I really believe that the president wanted to work in a bipartisan way. Mark Short and I have been talking. We exchanged ideas back and forth. I gave them a whole litany of things that I thought 10 or more Democrats would vote for. To have it 60 or 65 votes, I really believe is possible if you had regular order. Once Mitch McConnell was decided that 51 votes was all he was needed, and they were all going to be Republicans and make it political, that's exactly what happened.
So let me clarify this.
This is not a reform. This is a tax cut.
Let me clarify. You don't hold the president responsible for this. You hold Mitch McConnell responsible for this tax bill?
I think Mitch McConnell basically told the president we can do this under a budget reconciliation, which is a budget gimmick. He passed a budget with $1.5 trillion of deficit going in. So he had $1.5 trillion of deficit to work with in giveaways, tax cuts, and everything else rather than revenue neutral, which is what Ronald Reagan did, which is what Bowles and Simpson did, which is what I wanted to do and many Republicans kind of wanted to do, I thought, but that's not what we ended up with. And Chuck, the only thing about it, when you look in '86, Ronald Reagan did it and did it in a way that everyone was involved and got bipartisan support. Right. George Bush #1 had to pay the price for that because he saw that we had an exploding debt that wasn't supposed to have happened, but it did, and he had to make adjustments for our country, which he did and sacrificed his own political career and re-election as president. This is what we're dealing with, and I'm saying anybody that would have gone, Chuck, to the all-member hearing that we had last Thursday before, and heard the readiness of our military, the need that they have, and can vote with a clear conscience, this is the right thing for America and our children and our country, they were at a different meeting than I was at.
Senator Manchin, fortunately I got to leave it there. Democrat from West Virginia, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you sharing your views. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.